Here is a grand simplification. Faith is what we have. Hope is what we do. On December 24th, 2024, the Universal Church began the Jubilee Year of Hope. Over the next few weeks, our column will turn its attention to the practical, tangible ways that hope is woven into our lives and faith. Now, as a concept, hope carries both secular and theological definitions, and this kind of complexity can make understanding hope seem, hopeless. But do not fear. Hope is not lost. The distinctions are simple. Understanding helps us not only to embrace hope in our lives, but helps others to do the same. Now, when we say to a friend as they dive into the ocean, I hope you don't get bitten by a shark, our hope is a wish or a desire for their safety, a particular outcome in the midst of uncertainty. It's a big old ocean. We hope they don't get bitten by a shark. However, when we say as Catholics, our hope is in the Lord, or when St. Paul writes in the letter to the Hebrews, we hold this hope as an anchor for the soul. We are speaking of a belief. We're speaking of hope as a firm conviction, a confident expectation of what God has promised and has already revealed. The secular view of hope is maybe something will be good, but I'm uncertain. The theological view of hope says God has promised and shown us, and I am convinced and motivated by it. So if you are thinking that conviction in what God has promised and shown sounds a lot like faith, you'd be correct. It does sound a lot like faith. In fact, in 2007, Pope Benedict XVI published an encyclical on hope, Spe Salvi, or Saved in Hope. In this letter to the church, the Pope points out how intertwined hope is to the concept of faith. The Pope writes, when the first letter of Peter exhorts Christians to be always ready to give an answer concerning the logos, the meaning and the reason of their hope, hope is equivalent to faith. Despite their closeness between hope and faith, there is a distinction. Faith describes internal conviction and certainty, knowledge and assent. Hope, on the other hand, describes a response of faith, trusting, desiring, and longing. Readers are encouraged to read through the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Go ahead and dive into paragraphs 1814 to 1821. Here is a grand simplification. Faith is what we have. Hope is what we do. Spe Salvi examines 4 settings or schools through which we can understand hope: prayer, suffering, judgment, and Mary. In prayer, it is hope that moves us to turn our hearts and our minds to God. In suffering, it is hope that gives us the capacity to endure and the motivation to continue. In judgment, at the end of time, our hope comes through trusting Christ, his sacrifice for our sins, and the advocate interceding for us. And finally, in Mary, we have the one who brought hope to the world. With Mary's yes, her fiat, she opened the door of our world to God himself. She became the living ark of the covenant, in whom God took flesh, became one of us, and pitched his tent among us. As our everyday evangelization team talked through the 4 different schools of hope that outlined by the Pope, we realized that, interestingly and kind of sadly, each is commonly proposed as a stumbling block to the faith. In philosophy, the problem of suffering is used to plant seeds of doubt in the goodness of God. Mary, prayer, and judgment are each used by atheists and some Protestants to discredit the Catholic Church and turn the faithful away. Considering this, it is all the more important that we understand the beauty of hope and are moved to increase the virtue of hope in our lives. During this Jubilee of Hope, let us respond by paying attention to the moments of hope that happen every day. Let us respond joyfully to the hope that comes through faith. Like Our Lady, may we be filled with a conviction in what God has promised us and shown to us. May God bless you and keep you. God bless. Where will you be on October 11th? I'll tell you where.
You'll be with us at the Diamond here in Richmond, enjoying Catholic Fest, one of the cornerstone events of the Jubilee of Hope. Do you want to rejoice? Do you want to have fun? Do you want to spend a day with Catholics from all over this great diocese? Then we invite you to join us on October 11th here in Richmond.
Visit us at catholicfest.richmonddiocese.org.